Okay. Good evening, everyone. Again, I know it's been a long session. We've heard some fantastic research conducted at Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial. We've heard about personal statement. We've heard about choosing colleges. We've heard about admission test as well. What I really want to capture, I know the talk mentions about medicine, but what I really want to capture is that everything that has been discussed today until now are things that you would have to do in your final year before you submit application. So I want to go back a few more years. I want to go back to how do you prepare your children, or how do the students prepare themselves at whatever age point they're in, right? So whatever grade they're in. So I want to go back a few years just to give you a pathway. How do you begin this journey? So it's going to be more strategy that I'll be talking about. So first of all, OIC, Oxford International College, top school in the UK in terms of A-level results. 2022, 92% A-star to A grades, 99% A-star to B grades. As I mentioned earlier on, my journey in this whole education industry has actually started 20 years ago when I came to the UK as an international student, and I started tutoring in my conservatory students who didn't fit in the mainstream education in Cardiff at the time, and these were kids who were getting D and E grades, and they ended up getting A's and A-star, and it was the first time in the history of British education that we had a sixth form college that topped the league table in 2010. And not only top once, but consecutively every year until I moved to Oxford International College and I took an unranked school and made that #1 in just 2 years. But actually, the methodology of learning is designed to help students to improve their results. Obviously now, because of the demand at the college, we are competitive. It is competitive to get into OIC, but the design of the curriculum was designed to help students enhance their academic learning and build a career preparation. I've already talked about myself, but just to add, in 2011, I won the Best Science Tutor of the Year award. I taught chemistry and biology. I also won the Welsh Women of the Year award in 2015. That was given for education, and Class Nobel Educator of Distinction Award in 2015. That's given by the Nobel family, and I did a TEDx talk in 2016 about education reforms in Asia. Over the last 20 years, besides obviously teaching chemistry and biology, I was just saying to my friends here that I missed out on a lot of research opportunities because I would have loved to go in, but at the same time, I have created a lot of more doctors, engineers, lawyers, and so on. So I think I take great pride with the field that I've gone into. But I also, the last 20 years, have really focused into developing a career planning curriculum to be in parallel with the academic planning. So I've considered myself as an academic strategist, and what that means is my team and I, we help students to map both their academic planning and their career planning, but to do that on a personalized journey. So that's really my focus, and for that reason, I work very closely with top universities worldwide. I also sit on interview panel as well at some medical schools, but I really focus on building this career planning across all careers, across all courses at top universities, not just in the UK, but globally. Obviously, I take great pride in our academic results, being top in the league table since 2010, but I take greater pride in our admissions record. So over the last 10 years, we have sent over 1,000 students to Oxford, Cambridge, LSE, Imperial, UCL, over 800 students to medical schools, 100% of students receiving offers to Russell Group universities. I heard Suno mention the word Russell Group, so it's not just Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, not just the G5, they're also Russell Group universities who are equally very good. And then we have a small group of students who apply to the US every year, and we have had 100% success rate of students admitted into Ivy League universities. I just want to emphasize that these numbers represent international students. As an international student myself, I understand the bar, the challenges that you have to face compared to home students. So these numbers represent international students, and they are applying to courses which has less than 10% acceptance rate at these top universities. So the bar is even greater for international students. Let's understand why the bar is greater. Let's look at the Oxbridge statistics. So these are statistics, nationality. So you can see UK, EU, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, Thailand. I didn't manage to get Korea, unfortunately. Very small numbers. But just to give you, in fact, I would say the Korean numbers are similar each year. It's quite similar to I think the lower end, the Malaysian numbers. And you can see Oxford and Cambridge. Really, there has not been there's not been a big change pre-pandemic and pandemic years, apart from UK. UK has seen a bigger rise compared to other countries. It's been quite stable. But what we have seen, however, is a rise in terms of subject choices. So the last 2 years, we've seen a rise with medical applications has increased tremendously. I think our average has been 27% rise over the last 2 years. We are seeing rise in computer science. We are seeing rise in STEM subjects, so physics, mathematics, and so on. We're also seeing rise in psychology. I'm really pleased that Alison mentioned about psychology earlier on, because a lot of South Korean students are wanting to go into psychology, life sciences, as well as engineering and STEM subjects. So we are seeing a rise in certain subjects compared to other subjects. So there's been a huge rise there. And if we look at the success rate, so somebody asked us earlier on whether or not there is a quota for Asian students for these universities. There are no quota given by the universities. The only quota is medicine, which is capped by the government at the NHS, and that is 7.5% on international students. Apart from medicine or dentistry, there are no quotas for other courses. However, there are success rates. So we look at domestic versus international. Oxford 19%, Cambridge 19% for domestic. International, Oxford 6%, Cambridge 10%. Which is why somebody asked me in Hong Kong, why do we always see more of your students going to Cambridge? Well, that's the reason, really, because it's 6 versus 10%. So strategically, we advise them to apply to Cambridge over Oxford because of this. However, I must say that students who do well in their admission test, they do get through to Oxford, because I've seen, we've had engineers, lawyers, they tend to, if you smash your admission test, because Cambridge interviews more students, and Oxford filters before interview. So Cambridge has, I think they interview 70% of the applicants, and they filter post-interview, whereas Oxford filters pre-interview. So if you smash your admission test, you're almost there with Oxford. So generally speaking, these are the success rate. But again, you can see the bar is obviously greater for international students, right? Because also your experiences are different. So even though there are no quotas given set by the departments, your experiences are different than a British student. So it's really important that you understand that if you want to get into these top universities, then there are strategies that you have to look at from now. And most importantly, give opportunities for the children to try those strategies and then enjoy that process. So let's look into more details. Okay, so what's the first step? I'm going to share with you our university admissions records, but what's the first step in terms of identifying, in terms of knowing what to do next? What's the tangible step? Well, the first tangible step is to identify which career group you belong to. Do you belong to healthcare and biological sciences? That covers all the life sciences. Do you belong to the physical science and mathematics groups? Or do you belong to the commerce, humanities, and social science group? And depending on what age you're at, so if you are in year 7, 8, 9, 10, those are the years to explore. Year 11, year 12, year 13 are examination years. So you have to be strategic in those years. But year 7, if you have younger siblings or younger children, year 7 to year 10 is where you explore. You try the different career groups. You try them out. Maybe one term you try life sciences, another term you try physical sciences. Let them try. And you heard today from Randall about computer science. Try computer science, but also try engineering, try psychology, because you don't know what they like until you try these things. And then you get to the point where you say, I like this, I don't like this, and then you build that passion, because you've really worked out what your interests are, right? So just to share with you our university admission, so we had over 190 offers as of 16th of February, 11 Oxbridge offers from OIC and OIC Academy students for these courses. Again, these numbers represent international students. I'm sure you probably see on other schools which reports numbers like 20, 30, 40 to Oxbridge, but those numbers represent home students. We've seen the bar, the challenges. So international students, if you look at the percentage success rate, is 6% to Cambridge and 10% to, 6% to Oxford, 10% to Cambridge. This is Jim, one of our 2023 Oxbridge offer holder. He's 14 years old. Going to university at 16, so he's 16 now, but he started his course at 14. And he's got an offer to study mathematics at Oxford University. That doesn't mean you rush out and get your children to finish their A-levels in the next few years. What I'm trying to showcase here is that he had a strong passion for mathematics. He went on that strategy for mathematics and he got in. He got in because he had built up. And please don't be afraid of choosing an academic curiosity subject versus a vocational degree. A vocational degree, as I mentioned earlier on, medicine, dentistry, engineering, law. This is an academic curiosity degree, also very, very good, very powerful degrees to have as when you graduate. The key thing is to go to the right university for these degrees. We had 12 Oxbridge offers in 2022, 75 G5 university offers, and this is where it became phenomenal because last year in 2022 there were only 10 seats 10 new seats for international medical students because a lot of the places were deferred. We had 4 out of the 10 seats, 40% of Cambridge Medicine offers available to international students. 1 in 3 Cambridge Medicine received an offer. 1 in 2 got at least 1 G5 universities. Again, the numbers I'm showing you here all represent international students. None of these students have had a home student application. We actually had, again this year, we had 4 students to Cambridge Medicine. Medicine only has 27 seats in Cambridge, and 4 to go to one school is quite a phenomenon. In fact, when I heard about it, I thought they made a mistake. And we get it next year, that will be a hat trick. So 3 years in a row with Cambridge Medicine. And we look at Imperial and UCL. So Imperial for non-medical subject, we had 59% success rate. Medicine we had 23.8% compared to 12% nationwide. Now, why is there a distinction between medicine and non-medicine? Because medicine has a government cap of 7.5%, an NHS cap, 7.5% on international students. Other courses, there are no caps, but obviously there's level of competition, the success rate. Right, 63 offers to study medicine at 25 medical schools around the world. Again, we are not just focusing on the UK. Our students apply to a range of universities globally, and not just for medicine, for engineering, for law, and so on. So what we do is we provide strategy for students to work on a global strategic pathway to make sure they are prepared for any destinations. And again, the key thing is prepare your children earlier. If you get to year 12 and you want to apply to Stanford and also apply to Oxbridge, well, Oxbridge is tough enough, and Stanford has 8 essays. So it's time constraints. Time is the biggest constraint. We get students in 6th form. We have 10 months to prepare them, 10 months excluding holidays. And in 10 months is what we achieve, what other schools take 5 years to achieve these phenomenal results. We also prepare students, obviously, we also help students with scholarship application. I would urge you to apply for scholarship because you get your children into the habit of applying, becoming a scholar, applying, because when they get to university, they have to apply for training placements, they have to apply for jobs, they have to apply for research grants and things like that. So getting into the habit of applying is always good, regardless of the outcome. Again, I want to focus on let's ditch the expectation, let's embrace the journey. journey, right? Scholarships applications, so we've had every year students applying for scholarship, and we've had phenomenal results. I mean, Cambridge Medicine, which is very expensive, and Jenny got full scholarship to study Cambridge Medicine, and also for other courses as well. For scholarship applications, you have to submit an additional personal statement for certain scholarship that you apply for. Also, you may have another interview as well on top. So it's in addition to your university application, you would submit a personal statement, you would submit, and you would go for an interview. Right, so the first career group, healthcare and biological science. That's the first career group. Try this career group, try courses. So this career group includes medicine, dentistry, life sciences, biological, biomedical sciences, natural sciences. And these are students, obviously we have more students than this, but they just happen to be the most photogenic, which is why they're on the slide. And you can see the grades that they have achieved. The main thing is not to revel in their success. The point is, do you see the number of subjects? You got Oliver here with 3 subjects. You have Zirong here with 3 plus EPQ. You have Michelle with 4 subjects plus EPQ. You have Angela with 5 subjects. Oliver got into Cambridge Medicine with 3. Angela got into Cambridge Medicine with 5 subjects. So what is the message here? Well, the message is not one size fits all. Everybody has a personalized journey. We don't have to be in the rat race to try to do more and more A-level subjects because you think that that would be the bonus points. If somebody can cope with 5 and they can get straight A stars, great, do it. But if not, stick with 3. You don't have to do more, and you certainly don't have to do more, something that's going to really affect your personal strategy, but also is going to affect your other things that you're doing, your super curricular, your life in general. So you can make life easier. You can work on a personalized journey. As you can see here, students are doing different number of subjects, right? And then the next career group, physical science and mathematics. Again, you can see students are taking different number of subjects. You got 4 subjects, got 5 subjects. You have with EPQ, without EPQ, you know, and they're getting into various different courses. We have Tamilan, Imperial College London, computing, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We've just heard everything about artificial intelligence and machine learning at Imperial. You have Maria taking physics with theoretical physics. I also had a student who did physics with music at Imperial. So you can combine things. You can find courses that suits you. Again, you can see different number of subjects, and you can also see in every slide I'm showing you, you can also see students who've had scholarship, who've made through scholarship applications as well. I want to share with you a Peldon story. So Peldon came from Malaysia. He was not, so somebody just asked me earlier on, what if my child is not the brightest or the best? Peldon came from Malaysia. He was never the best student in his school. He was a good student, but he wasn't the top student or exceptional student, as in, you know, when you rank students. He came to OIC, discovered his passion for computer science, fall in love. He basically eat, breathe, sleep computer science. And I still remember his first draft of his personal statement. He was so honest. He wrote in his personal, he said, I've never been a top student, but I really fall in love with computer science. And then he talked about all the evidences and stuff. Don't worry, we changed his personal statement. We didn't submit it with that draft. I've never been a top student. And he got into Cambridge, despite the fact that actually when he applied to Trinity College, one of the colleges at Cambridge. And we had another student that year who also applied to Trinity, and he had 11 A stars in his GCSEs. And he's always been number 1 in his school. And when both of them applied, I sat them down and I said to Peldon, Peldon, you sure you want to compete at this level? Because your peer, your colleague who's also applying, had 11 A stars. And there are 30 colleges. You can choose another college. And Peldon said, Miss, you always preach to us, we should just enjoy the process. I've got nothing to lose. I really like Trinity. I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. And that's what he did. He applied to Trinity. He went for it, despite the fact the bar was so much higher. He's competing not only with other students, but with his colleague who had, technically on paper, much better results. But yet he smashed the admissions test and he smashed his interview, and then he got into Cambridge, and he graduated last year. But for me, what was really brilliant as an educator was to see his confidence that, you know what, I don't really care about the outcome. I'm just going to enjoy this process, and I just enjoy computer science. I think Trinity College offers a good course, is a good college, so I'm just going to go for it. And I think that confidence is contagious. I mean, that's just great that he got to that level, that he was able to say that. So hopefully that gives you an indication that, yes, of course, you have different experiences to perhaps British students. You may have come from national curriculum where you may not be the top of your school. It's okay. It's fine. You just need to find your strategy, work at it, find your passion, build evidence for your passion, and then based on good strategy, enjoy the process, and you may get the outcomes. The third career group, which is the broadest career group, social science, humanities, and commerce, which covers law, psychology, PPE, economics, global business, lots of different combinations. This is the broadest career group. These three career groups covers 98% of all courses at top universities, at G5 universities. The only course it doesn't cover are things like music or performing arts, because you need to have auditions for that. So these three career groups covers 98% of all courses. Again, as you can see, students have different number of subjects. You have 4 subjects, 3 subjects, and you have students who didn't get straight A stars, but still got into Cambridge. You have students with A star B, got into LSE. So it's a personalized strategy. It's not one size fits all. That, I think, should be key, right? Because I think we're always in this race to try to do what other people do, right? So I think we need to discover what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and then work on the basis of our strengths and weaknesses, and then create this portfolio. Right. OIC program, just to share with you what we do. As I mentioned, is Strategic Global Pathway. Every student has an academic strategy tutor, similar to kind of like a bit more like an Oxbridge-style supervision, where they have academic strategy tutor who's helping them and guiding them through this whole process, not just for the UK, but for US, Australia, Canada, Ireland, Hong Kong, Singapore, and so on. I also had students who applied back to Korea as well, for medicine as well. There has been 1 or 2 students. So it's really a personalized strategy to maximize admissions chances. So every student has an academic strategy tutor, as well as they have career mentors as well, guiding them, making sure that they are enjoying this process, making sure that this is what they really want to do, because otherwise when you get to interview, you have to demonstrate that passion. A-levels is obviously the qualification you take before you go on to, you apply to universities. So A-level is a 2-year program or an 18-month program. So 2 years starts in September, or 18 months starts in January. There are no compulsory subjects at this stage. Some courses, they do have compulsory subject. Medicine, you have to have chemistry. Biology, they say it prefer, but every time you see the word, I know the universities are here, but every time you see the word prefer, just do them, because they really want you to do it. And you do need to choose the subjects based on what you want to do. So for example, if you want to do engineering, you need to have maths and further maths and physics. If you want to do economics, then if you must have maths, and your 4th subject could be further maths. If you're doing medicine, then obviously it's chemistry, biology, and maths goes with that as well. So make sure you're choosing the right subjects. But how do you get to that point? Well, that discovery starts earlier on. You have to discover your passion much earlier on, so that when you get to this stage, you're choosing the right subjects. I had a student, just very quickly going back to this girl here, Karen. When she first started, she wanted to do medicine, and then she decided, she actually went on the Global Space Design Challenge. I had 2 students that, because of Randall, I had to change the whole strategy because of Randall's programs, because they went on to a few, they do super curricular activities, they go for work experience, wider reading, projects and competitions. Karen came back and she said to me, Miss, I think I've discovered my passion now, I want to do engineering. So because she chose the right subjects at the beginning, she was able to change. and she still got in to Cambridge. I had another boy who said when he first joined, he said he wanted to do medicine from the age of 5. And then he went to NASA for the finals. He came back and he sat me down and he said, I have news for you. And I thought it was something serious. And then he said, well, I want to change my career. I thought my first thought was, thank God. And then my second thought is, well, now we have to change your strategy and what you do. But, you can change your mind. But obviously, to reduce your stress, to reduce the pressure, it is better if you can discover before you start your year 12, so that you make the right decisions afterwards. But even if so, you can still change, but it's just that the intensity increases every time you change. GCSE is the qualification before you take A-levels. Now, some of you might be thinking, do I take GCSEs or do I show my Korean qualification if you are studying in Korea? The problem is at the time when you apply, you have to show achieved results. Universities don't just rely on predicted grades because schools can inflate their predictions. So they do look at your GCS, they do look at achieved results. So if you only have school report, then you have to demonstrate you are in the top 1% of your school, which then becomes a problem because in Korean system, every school is different, right? You have, whereas if you take GCSE, it's more in your control. You don't have to show you in the top 1%, you just have to show that you are getting A stars, or as the highest grade possible. So I would recommend those of you who are at the right age, I would definitely say if you want it to be more in your control, then GCSEs will be a better option. So at OIC, we do a 1-year GCSE program, but in our new campus, OIC Brighton, we offer from year 9 to year 13. Again, we're excited about OIC Brighton because my biggest constraint when I have students that come to me is time. 10 months to prepare them before they apply, 10 months of students that come from different academic backgrounds, different life experiences, and to shape them and mold them and find their passion in 10 months is very, very tough. So this is why we're excited by our OIC Brighton campus, because now we can shape them and mold them and making sure that they can enjoy other aspects of their life and their activities while still focusing on this strategy. All right, you've already heard a lot from Oxford, Cambridge, and Imperial, but I'm just going to give you a sense of like a little bit more mechanical process of what do you take to enter top university. First of all, why should you go to a top university? We've already talked about that. As I said earlier on to the students here, your parents will love you no matter which university you go to, right? Trust me on that. My mother said to me when I left, you better go to a top university, otherwise I'm not going to talk to you, but I know she was lying. So they will always love you no matter what. The key thing about why should you go to a top university really is a lifestyle choice. Do you want that kind of a lifestyle choice? I know students who've gone to Cambridge, for example, sets them work even before they start their course. Again, it's a lifestyle choice. Do you want to have that kind of, because it is tough at these universities, but it does teach you life skills as well, like resilience, prioritization, managing your workload, and still having fun. I mean, the kids who go to these universities do have fun. It's not like they're working all the time, but it's just that there is a more intellectual debates going on. It's more of a different, like the network you have is different. And I know they might disagree with this, but I have seen some research where it says a degree from a top university sometimes does help with the job market, especially obviously when you come back to this part of the world as well. So that is true. But again, just going through the process and applying for the very top, if you don't get number 1, you get number 2, number 3, equally very, very good. Right, so what do you need to get into top universities? Obviously, academic results is important. That's what gets your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, then you've got the admission test, your interview, your personal statement, your references. This is what we would say the steps to complete this, the step to get here, to fulfill this at a very high level would be supercurricular activities, and I'll talk about that in more detail. So if we look at this cycle, the key things that they're looking for, GCSEs or IGCSEs or equivalent, and I say equivalent, it has to be a standardized exam. If it's a school report, universities have a hard time in assessing you and comparing you. So GCSEs, IGCSE, or equivalent. Then you have AS. Not every school in the UK takes AS. AS is a standalone qualification, which is taken at the end of year 12. And AS provides evidence for prediction. But AS will not replace this as achieve results because GCSE gives you breadth of subjects. AS is only 4 subjects because A-level you take 4 subjects. So this is still a key requirement in terms of set of achieved results. Now, if you're at the stage where you have not been able to take GCSEs, that's fine too. You can apply without GCSEs. But what I'm trying to say is that if you're at the stage where you can make that choice, then I would definitely go for GCSEs or IGCSEs, if you can make that choice. If you can't make that choice, it doesn't matter. We have had students who don't have GCSEs or IGCSEs but still have been successful. It's just that your route is slightly more harder than those who have taken GCSEs. So then you have AS results, which provides evidence, and of course, as we said, personal statement, interviews, and admission test. So this is a very important timeline. So as I said earlier on, this is a whole mechanical process. I'm not talking about anything interesting here like you've heard computer science and research and so on. But this is a mechanical process for you to have an awareness of how to plan for your children and for your students to plan as well. So if you were assuming that you start A-levels in September, so let's assume you start A-level in September, the first row here is year 12, second row here is year 13. So you start your A-level in September, you sit for your AS exams in June, you get your results in August, and you do all the supercurricular activities during that period. You start your year 13 in September. If you're aiming for Oxbridge or medicine or dentistry or veterinary, you'll be applying in October. You will then take most of your admission tests in November, although this is changing. The dates for this is changing. And then December, you take interviews. And then January to May, you will receive decisions. June, you will sit A-level exam. August, you receive A-level results. October, you start university. Provided you're holding an offer and you meet the conditions, you start university. Happy days, right? Very easy. All done. Very simple, right? Now, the key thing here is students can get rejected here at this point. They can get rejected at this point, or they can get rejected at this point, way before you've taken your A-level exams. So even if you've had straight A stars, because a lot of families come to me and they say, my son or my daughter had straight A stars, why didn't they get into Oxbridge? Why did they get into Imperial? Well, first, because they're very competitive, but secondly, is because you have not focused probably on your supercurricular activities, because that is equally important to these universities, not just the grades. As I've shown you, students who didn't get straight A stars, but they met the conditions of the offer. If you look at the A-level, if you look at the offers set by these universities, the offers are normally A star AA or A star A star A. I have not seen any course where they've required 4 A stars. Right? So that tells you that academic is only one aspect of the application, one aspect. Important aspect, important, but one aspect. So even if you finish your A-levels and you got straight A stars, and then you decide I'm going to apply the following year, take a gap year and apply the following year, you still have to sit for admission tests. You still have to submit personal statement. You still have to go for interviews. So none of this changes. So that tells you you need to focus on academic as well as your career preparation. So parents, when you receive your children's report card, when you see their report card, great, they got A stars, they got A's, fantastic. But ask them, what books are you reading? What do you reflect from that book? What work experience have you gone on to? What lectures have you listened to? What debates you've listened to? What maybe podcasts or webinars or online sessions or in-person sessions? What have you done to gain that interest, to cement your interest, to cement your and reaffirm your career choices or your course choices? Those are as important questions as you would have from just looking at their results. Right? So those are the questions you need to be asking on a daily basis. Actually, that should be the answer for the for the forum earlier on. That should be what you'll be asking your children on a daily basis. Right, because I'm a chemist, biochemist, and I love formulas, I'm going to give you a secret recipe. The secret recipe is 1 + 2 + 3 gets you the offer, 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 gets you into university. You can take a picture of this if you like. So 1 + 2 + 3 gets you the offer. 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 gets you into university. This bit here and these two are supercurricular. This here are academics. So I've given you the secret recipe. Now I'm going to give you my formula. Okay? Right. So how have we been so successful in getting international students to top university? I'm going to share with you my formula. Gaining the competitive edge for university and beyond. Right, there are three pillars, and it's an integrated curriculum: academic excellence, career preparation, and personal development. If I was to give one pillar slightly more percentage, I would say this, depending on when you stand, where you started, sorry. If you start in year 12, year 11, year 12, then this is so crucial. But really, this needs to start from year 7 onwards. As soon as you enter high school, you want to discover your passion, discover and explore the different areas, different career, different courses. And that's what I said earlier on. You want to try to explore the 3 different career groups: healthcare, biological sciences, physical sciences and mathematics, social science, commerce and humanities. Try out the different career groups. Change it every term. Now, how do you try? How do you do this? Well, you do it by wider reading. So I think today I've sent you have leaflets on a reading club that we have started, so a reading project. So that gets you assigned to a mentor who can actually introduce you to the different career groups, different courses, and help you to choose your books, get you to read them, and then grill you on those books. Really test on what you're learning from those books. And then, of course, you change books according to your interest. But there's a mentor who can guide you with that reading. And also work experience. We've heard from Randall about pro-ed education, pro-ed work experience opportunities. That's another way to discover, okay, what is it that I like, what is it I don't like, right? So let's talk about academic excellence first. So how do we get these fantastic results? So I've used this concept: active recall, spaced repetition, retrieval learning. These are not concepts I've designed. These have been existing since 20th century. But it's just schools don't use it effectively. And that's what I've used. I've used that in my teaching and learning. And that's the reason why we've been really successful in getting students from D grade to an A-star grade. As I said, my journey started with non-selective students. But this is the design that has worked for both my colleges. And now we're going to the 3rd school now. With OIC Brighton. And again, this is really the system that has worked for me. So active recall is the way we teach and learn. Spaced repetition is through our assessments, weekly assessments. And retrieval learning is through our cumulative assessments. So that's how. So we use the data that we get from these assessments to really be efficient in our support classes. So if, for example, a student gets 80%, great, they got an A grade, they've lost 20%. So I'm interested in what they don't know, not what they do know. Because I get frustrated every time I go for my parents' teacher meeting for my son, and they always tell me things I know. It's like, tell me what I don't know, right? He's there in school more than he's at home. So tell me what I don't know. So I'm interested in what you don't know rather than what you do know. So 20% that you lost in your paper, we then use that to identify why. Is that due to lack of technique, lack of revision, or lack of understanding? And based on that, the teachers will then provide the support classes in that week. So that's what happens with the retrieval learning. Of course, we have passionate teachers, teachers who are really focused in their subjects, really care about the subjects. But with passionate teachers, you also need to have strong systems as well. Career preparation. This is what supercurricular, this is really the star of the topic today. Supercurricular is what I really would encourage you to start ASAP. So beyond the syllabus, programs, awards and competitions, clubs and societies, further personal development. So 1 to 4 clockwise. These are all supercurricular strands, activities that you need to be doing. 5 and 6 is at the end. Those are strategy. By the time you get to year 12, you will be focusing on these 2. But from year 7 onwards, you need to be doing these. Right? Let's talk a little bit more about what does each category means. Personal development, very crucial, very important. There are 3 types of clubs. We have 40 different clubs in our college, but there are 3 types. It was broken down to 3 different types of clubs. Academic clubs, like medical society, law society, engineering society. Skill club debating, or it could be chess, debating, young enterprise, so skill club. And then we have fun club, like glee club, music, arts, and so on. So we have 3 types of clubs: academic club, fun club, and skill club. If there is one club that I would really recommend all of your children to take part in, is debating. But I warn you, they'll start debating with you. Because I did that happen to my son, with my son and me. But debating club is fantastic because it's not about turning your children to be extroverts, if they're introverts. It's not about that. It's not even about public speaking. But debating is the ability to think on your spot, is the ability to argue and present your cases. That is a skill that will help you for interview. That will be a skill that will help you to question things. So debating is something, if you can start doing it now, I would definitely recommend you to start doing that in your schools. So even if you are feeling a bit shy about it, even if you're not an introvert, extrovert, it still helps you to answer questions on the spot, right? And also, our debating coach, who's from Oxford University, she tells our students when she first starts her first session, it is the only legal way to fight. So that is the only legal way to fight. So it's like, it's a great way to actually learn how to communicate. So debating will be something that I would definitely recommend everybody. And of course, you have other types of clubs and societies. Like if you want to do computer science, you want to take part in computing club, medicine, medical society, engineering society, psychology society. All these societies will help you to build that passion, demonstrate, and not just attend it as a member. Please do something about it. Reflection is very important. One of the things that I find is some students just do it as a tick box. When we were in Hong Kong, I explained that I met a mother who had certificates of her child from age 2. She had a whole bundle of certificates. She was showing me the certificates from age 2. When I looked at that, I felt I was a failed mother because I never collected certificates for my son. But she was showing me her certificates and keep showing me. The book was endless. So I was like, and then when I turned to the child and I started asking some questions, he couldn't answer me. So reflection is key. It's not just taking part in these as a tick list, right? In fact, you probably do less, but do it quality. That's probably much better than doing so much and then not being able to talk about it. What can you do now? So what are the tangible steps for you? What can you do now? Well, the first thing is start the process of career mapping, number 1. Number 2 is not as important as when you get to year 12 or year 13. So don't worry about number 2. I know here, probably after today, you're convinced you're going to be applying to Oxford, Cambridge, and Imperial after hearing these fantastic people talking about their universities. But this is really something that you should leave till the last. But number 1 and number 3, very important. Start the process of career mapping. And then number 3, master the idea of working in parallel of your academics and career. They're both equally important. I know we're so used to just looking at school report and saying, did you get an A? Oh, it's not good enough, go and get an A. But you need to look at other things as well. So let's look at number 3 in more detail. Number 1 is really focusing on that 3 career groups and trying out the 3 different career groups until you've mastered what you want. And that's the reason why we started the reading club, and then you've obviously got work experience through ProEd as well. Number 3, let's look into this. So these are academic. This is supercurricular. That's the differentiation. So academic are obviously your lessons, but also admission tests and interview also considered to be academic. But supercurricular is what contributes everything to your academic. Joining clubs and societies, reading, membership with academic bodies and institutions, attending guest lectures and academic conferences, research project, HPQ at GCSE level, EPQ at A level, online courses, MOOCs, work observation, virtual or in-person, volunteering, personal development, taking part in essay competitions or competitions in general. Now, every month, Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, especially Oxford and Cambridge, they release a set of competitions that you can take part in. Take part. Win or lose doesn't matter. And if you start now, by the time you get to year 12, you'll be ready. You will win something, right? But you got to start ASAP. Don't wait until you're in year 12. Because by the time you get to year 12, you only have 10 months before you apply to university, if you exclude the holidays. So start now. So the oxygen of all this, in my opinion, as an international student going through this process, I would say is reading. That's the oxygen, because if you don't read, and I have seen economic students who want to apply to LSE, when I ask them what books have you read, literally they have read perhaps Korean literature or Hong Kong literature or Malaysian literature, but they have not read enough of economics books, economics related books. And that is the reason why they don't get offers from those universities, because you haven't done enough reading. So reading is important. And as a rule of thumb, try to prepare 2 years in advance. What that means is try to read at a higher level. Try to read books that are beyond your textbooks, beyond your curriculum. and try to always be 2 years ahead when it comes to reading, when it comes to work experience and all that. So by the time you get to A-level, you can enhance even further. You will be at a much, instead of starting at ground zero, you will start at ground 10. Right? So that's key. So starting early is key. And the oxygen there starts with reading, then work experience. So the tangible things that you can do from today, reading, you can take part in work experience, you can take part in competitions. And all these things build up your super curricula, and you'll discover your passion through this array of activities. And this is something that we do in our college. We embed that in our curriculum so that we make sure that students are doing super curricula as well as the admission test preparation, interview preparation, and obviously their academics as well. Right, so this is the pathway. Year 7 onwards, this gives you a little bit more direction in terms of how you should plan for your children. So if your child is in year 7, so year 7 would be around age 12, 13, 12, I would say, year 7, 12. And that goes on till they apply to university at the age of 16, 17. But I know that in the Korean system, you are, they're slightly older, right? Yes. So because in Malaysia, I came to do A-levels when I was 17. So I went to university. So it is the same, I think, similar to Malaysian system, where it's a year longer, right? So this age group that I'm showing you is for British students. It starts from 12 onwards until they get to 16, 17, 16 when they apply, when they get to A-levels. But if you are in so what I'm trying to say is that your age doesn't have to correlate the same as British students. What matters is your experiences. So don't worry about trying to match with British kids. Don't worry about, oh, my child is already 17. Can he get into the top universities? Yes, you can. The age is not relevant here. What is relevant is what you do from high school. As soon as you enter high school, what do you do? This yellow box here continues every year. You just have to add another box. So yellow box here, you go on till the end. Year 10, you choose the right GCSE subjects, A-level subjects. Year 12, you strategize and focus your preparation, choose your universities. Year 13, you sit for admission tests, submit application, attend interviews, and after year 13, you obtain your A-level results, meet your conditions, and start university. Happy days, right? Happy days. Very easy, very easy. So simple. Right, so how can we help you? Then of course there are things that we can help you with. We can help you with career exploration, admission tests, mentoring. If you want to get any university help, university consultancy, if you need any help with that, we're very happy to help you in these. And as I said, Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial do a lot of outreach activities as well. So there are things that you can assess on their websites as well. And again, year 7, year 10, year 12, year 13. I've listed it so that you have tangible action points that you can take from here. Again, the first one you must do every year until you apply. In fact, even after you apply, you must continue with this. I had a student, his name is Mountain from Hong Kong, and he applied to Oxford for mathematics, and he got in mathematics. And he's in year 13. After he submitted his application, after he had his offers, he took part in the biology Olympiad. And he didn't even take A-level biology. He took part in A-level in biology Olympiad, got a gold medal. He doesn't even study biology A-levels. But that will add to his CV. So when he goes to Oxford and they look at his CV and they'll be like, wow, okay, so you've done these things, because he can then use that to further enhance his area of research. And so he can use mathematics and biology, for example, if that is the area of interest. But so you don't have to stop. It's not that, oh, this is a tick list and I get to the point where I get the offer and then, oh, it's done. No, this is lifelong. This is when you get to top universities, you want to continue with this habit of continuing developing your passion, building evidence for your passion, right? Your pathway to university is unique to you. Everyone is different. Everyone must have a personalized journey. right? Because put it this way, your life experiences living in Seoul will be different to the life experiences of a British student, right? You'll be different to a Malaysian student, different to a Singaporean student, because there are differences within what we do. And in Asia, there's so many different options of curriculum. You have your Korean system, you have American system, you have IB, you have A-levels. It is very confusing. What is the right strategy to get there? So again, it's choosing the right curriculum so that you are at a place where you can apply anywhere. That, I think, should be key. So you want to get to a point where you get to year 12, you have done enough projects, enough activities, US will love you too, as well as Oxbridge will love you, right? So you want to get to the point that you have done enough of these, you have enriched your experiences. That's key. And for parents not to just focus on their academics, do focus on the super curriculum. This is some pictures of our new campus, OIC Brighton. I'm not going to be a real estate here and talk about properties, but this is a beautiful site. It's our new campus. There's courses at OIC Brighton, year 9, year 10, year 11, year 12, and year 13. And of course, we will be offering supervised studies, super curricular program, and so on. Just to going back on this campus, I did my A-levels in Brighton, not in this school. I did A-levels in Brighton, and it just seems to be my journey is a full circle. So I went to the UK, to Brighton, to do my A-levels, then went Cambridge, Cardiff, Oxford, and now it's like a trapezium. Now Brighton. But it's a beautiful place, and for those of you who've never been to Brighton, it's like a resort area. It's a beach area, seaside, lots of seafood. So anyway. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I do post a lot of materials on my Instagram about education. It might be boring, it's not K-pop, but I do post a lot of materials about education. In fact, in Hong Kong, parents who have asked us questions, all of us have answered questions. So if you want to follow that, you can hear the answers that we have. Maybe you have similar questions, but we have answered those questions. So please follow me on Instagram. And finally, very quickly, I just want to share with you some admission test questions and interview questions for you to try. Students, I would like you to try. Parents, I let you off. But I think it'll be great fun. Can I have a timekeeper? Would you be a timekeeper for me? Per minute, per question, 1 minute. Will you be a time? Okay, Suna will be a timekeeper. Wait, don't worry, it's not starting yet. I still have a few more. Right, this is a list. Oh, wait. This is a list of admission tests ranging from medicine, engineering, law, economics, mathematics, and so on. It's a range of admission tests. The list is not exhaustive. Most students will sit for more than one admission test, obviously. So let's try some examples of university admission tests. Ready? Sorry, this is BMAT, not there yet. This is BMAT for medicine, and as you can see, not interviewed, but no place and place. So you can see the bar chart, and as you can see, the higher the results, the more likely you will get a place. There are some students who do get places with lower BMAT scores, but that is based on contextualized data. So contextualized data means Oxford and Cambridge, Imperial, all the G5 universities, in fact, all universities, they do look at the background the students come from, but that is for home students, not for international, because there's no way they can do a data search for the whole world. They only do that for the UK. So really, that doesn't apply to you. You would have to be in this range and above. Okay, because the rest is contextualized data. Right, let's try some questions. It's for fun.
어드미션 테스트인데 이거 한 1분 정도 시간을 주거든요. 오케이.
Oh, start.
1분이거든요. 그래서 1분 되면 제가 스톱할게요. 그래서 한번
Ready? Oh, wow, okay. Ready, question 1. If you look at a clock and the time is 9:45, what is the angle between the hour and the minute hands? And you have 1 minute to answer this question. Students, I expect you to try. Parents, up to you. If you're going to share with your children later on, they might ask you to do them before you make them do it. 20 seconds. Done? 5 seconds.
Stop.
Oh, stop. Okay, everyone stop. How many of you say A? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the first step to get into top university, I kid you not, this is the most important recipe, most important formula to get into any of their universities is courage. Right, so everyone must try the question. Right, so A, put your hands up again, A. Right, B, C, D, and E. By the way, I'm loving it. The parents are taking part because in Hong Kong, we didn't get that. We only got the kids taking part. So this is brilliant. I love it. Salute to South Korea. Right. And the answer is D. And we haven't got time to go through. Otherwise, I would get Andre to explain. Right. Next question. Ready? Next question.
Still 1 minute.
Yeah,
1 minute.
1 minute. What can we assume that he intends to appear? This is what you get on my Instagram rather than K-pop. So as you try this question, you can see that it's not an academic question that you will see in your textbook. This requires thinking skills, right? It's not something you would see in your maths textbook or chemistry textbook or biology textbook. 10 seconds.
Stop.
Stop. Okay. I love pseudo stop. Stop. Right. A. Put your hands up for A. B. Okay, remember courage and consistent courage. Consistent courage. C. D. And E. And the answer is E. Okay, do you want the good news or the bad news first? Good news. Good news is that everyone who starts this journey, I've not seen anybody who on day one gets 100%. They all have to go through a process of practicing every day. You know what we said about before, how do you reach top level? Is practicing every day. Do you want the bad news? These are level 1 questions. It's like computer game, you know, we have like levels. Right. And by the way, these are a range of questions that I've taken from different admission tests. So this is not specifically to one admission test. Right, next question. This is a maths question. How many, yes, start, 1 minute. How many can she buy? This is a maths question. You can take it to your, if anyone here, which I hope you don't, but if anyone here goes to a Hagwon, you could try to get your Hagwon teachers to try these questions. I hope you don't go to Hagwon. You don't have to go till late nights and stuff. 10 seconds. In Hong Kong, some people were trying to use calculator to answer this. This is a non-calculator. Stop. Great. Okay. A, B, remember courage and consistent courage. C, D, and E. Oh gosh, there was no courage for this. Everyone chose to abstain. What happened to maths? Right. And the answer is C. By the way, we're not doing it 1 minute because we're limited by time because of the session today. It is genuinely only 1 minute. You only get 30 seconds to 1 minute to answer these questions. So the time you have in the test. So it's not just because of the event. Yeah, these are actual time frame that you have. We're going to skip the next question because it's a bit too long. Which of the following names should they choose? So you can take a picture of that if you want to. I'll give you the answer, but we're going to skip that because we're going to go to one which is dead easy, right? Which hopefully boosts your morale next. And the answer to this is D, Mita. Okay, let's try the next one. Next one is 30 seconds, guys. Ready for the next one? 30 seconds, next one. Trust me, it is dead easy. And the answer is, well, the question is, the rule of which set does the test shape follow? This is so easy. Hamish, you're going to have to answer this one. 30 seconds. Okay, A, B, C. So many people still abstain. And the answer, ladies and gentlemen, most of you did answer this right. Answer is C. Well done. Excellent. Hopefully that leaves you with a good morale boost. These are level 1 questions, but you can practice them. And they do look at admission tests. I know Andre mentioned it earlier on, admission tests, aptitude tests is very crucial. You also get essay questions as well. So there are 3 types of questions: multiple choice questions, open-ended questions, and essay questions. There are 3 types of questions. By the way, talking about admission test, for Cambridge, from 2024, they are reforming the admission test. There will be no admission test from 2024 at Cambridge. So that is BMAT for all the medical schools, ANGA for Cambridge, NSAA for Cambridge, TSA is Oxford. So Cambridge admissions testing are reforming from 2024. There will be no admission test for Cambridge admission testing. However, before you all get excited, what does that mean to you? Well, actually, very little, because they will bring another form of test. So you still have to work on admission test skills. Admission test skills are advanced maths, advanced science, reasoning, critical thinking, problem solving, essay writing, both essay writing for science and humanities, because the skills are slightly, or the content is different, obviously. So you still have to work on your admission test skills, because they will come up with a new test. Personal statement is also changing. I know we heard from Alison earlier about personal statement is also changing. Instead of having a 4,000 characters, 27 lines, it will be 6 series of questions. 6 series of questions. What does that mean to you? Nothing. You still have to do the same supercurricular activities. You're just answering them in a different format. So nothing actually changed from you apart from the format. Every 5 years, every 10 years, things changes, but essentially the skills still the same, right? The knowledge and skills still the same. Interview question, I'm just going to share with you very quickly. Examples of interview questions. Right. I give you £100. You must offer part of it to someone. If they reject the offer, you get nothing. How much do you offer? That's an economics question. How hot does the air have to be in a hot air balloon if I want to use it to lift an elephant? Material science. Do they teach you that in your textbook? No. How many grains of sand are there in the world? Physics. Does a snail have a consciousness? Experimental psychology. These are some of the questions that have been asked previously. Now, these are abstract questions. Of course, your whole interview will not be abstract questions. They will obviously ask you subject-specific questions. For example, they could give you a graph, and they could say, summarize the graph. What defines a mammal? What do the deviation from the line show? Can brain size relative to body size tell us anything about intelligence? Are there any flaws in the study? What body weight does the dog have? Again, it's not something that will be in your curriculum. That is why I said wider reading, work experience, listening to podcasts, documentaries, all these things will help you to get to a stage where you sit on the interview chair and there's always something that you have done that you can relate to, right? To answer these questions. Or it could be history. They give you a map like this. What do you find interesting about it? When do you think the map was made? Where is it from? What is it showing? What does the name of the map suggest? How could this be relevant today? I can tell you for a fact, I asked my history teacher, this is not in their curriculum for history. But they could give you something that is outside of the confines of your curriculum and test you on your reasoning skills, on your ability to think. Interview questions for economics. Again, they could ask you, can we really measure GDP? Does a balance of trade deficit matter? Right, so this is not, again, something you do at economics A-level. Well, it is linked to economics A-level, but you need to be able to communicate, debate, discuss. Right, so again, more reading, more work experience, all these things will help you to formulate your answers. This law, they give you a scenario, you answer law questions based on that. Right, again, as I said, you can follow me on Instagram for any questions, but we are, I think, obviously, I know it's 6 o'clock, but if you have any questions, we are here. If you want to ask anything in particular.